Alright, what's up guys? I've had a lot of questions on how I make my Friday the 13th masks from those little 98-cent Walmart masks. So I figured I'd show you guys how. So the first thing you're going to want to do is cut off the branding and remove the straps. Now these straps are kept on with nothing more than fabric glue, so they're really easy to pull apart. I don't even cut them off, I just pull them off. Sometimes I like to reuse this elastic for other masks. Alright, after that you're going to take some 220 grit sandpaper and sand your mask down. Make sure all the nice glossy sheen is taken off and it's nothing more than just one straight matte white color. Make sure you get the back as well, because the back is actually worse about the paint sticking. After that, you're going to want to go ahead and get the hole placement the best you can. I use one of my older masks to kind of guide me. I mark them all on with pencil, that way I can redo them if needed. Then after I do it with pencil, I'll go back over it with a nice marker so they don't wipe off while I'm cutting into the holes. Now, I don't have a power drill, so I use an X-Acto blade to do every single hole. Now, sometimes when you cut into these holes, you get these really deep spurs, and I'll go around the back side and cut the spurs off. That way it sits nice and flush on your face. Then after hitting it with the X-Acto knife to make sure they're flush, I will go back over it with a lighter to kind of melt down any kind of excess plastic. Don't worry about burn marks because they're all going to come off. Hit it again with 220 grit sandpaper. After this, I'm doing the part 4 masks, so this is kind of the part where you would mark in your details. And I go ahead and cut the axe slit out at this point. Alright, so after that, I go ahead and scratch in with an X-Acto blade the finer details, like the scratches on the mask. I use a reference image to go off of just so I can make sure I'm being as accurate as possible. This part can be somewhat time consuming, but it is my favorite part. Now after that, you're going to go ahead and put tape on the back side of the holes that you're going to fill in, because these are some cheaper masks, so the hole placement's completely wrong. I use plastic wood to fill in the holes and a nice set of gloves. And then once it's dried, I sand off all the excess just to make sure nothing sits wrong or looks uneven. Now after that, I like to hit it with Rust-Oleum 2X High Gloss. I use Rust-Oleum because personally I don't like Krylon paint. It's a little bit too liquidy for me. I make sure to hit both front and the back side. I hit the back with black and the front with Navajo white. I find that Navajo is just yellow enough. Now after that, I like to sand down some of the parts where the paint is missing on the actual mask, just to make sure I'm getting as accurate as possible. I'll hit it with a second coat of paint, and then after this I will sand down the finer details. I used a piece of sandpaper taped to a pin, so it's kind of easier to choose where you're going to be taking the paint off. Now after this, I like to make my chevrons out of red electrical tape and previously used cutouts. I'll take the red electrical tape and put them down on a nice clean glass plate, that way the tape can re-stick again. And I'm just using the cutouts to kind of give me something to get the right shape on. I carefully place the decals on as best I can, making sure they're straight with the eyes. And then I'll put the top chevron on right underneath the 2 holes on the top, getting it as straight as possible. Now on the part 4 mask, some of the pieces are kind of like peeled off or missing, so what I do is I will outline those parts and then I will cut into the actual decal and remove the decal part. Same thing with this decal here. Outline and remove the unneeded parts. And then after that, I will take my X-Acto knife and scrape off the paint, being as accurate as possible. That way I don't remove any unnecessary paint. After that, I take my jet black and nutmeg brown, mix it together, kind of get a dirty black browny color. And I like to use this to kind of dirty up the mask. Just dab on black paint, or dab on the paint, and remove it the best you can with a clean towel or tissue as I'm using. Detailing can be another time-consuming part, but it really pays off in the end. Now off camera, I did go ahead and put blood on this. I forgot to record that, and I'll make sure to get that in the next one. I also added some glow-in-the-dark paint because this client said they liked some of my previous glow-in-the-dark masks, so I put glow-in-the-dark around the axe mark, and in every single hole there's actually glow-in-the-dark paint. Also did glow-in-the-dark paint around each chevron or each decal. After that, I go ahead and stitch on some elastic. I choose not to do rivets on these because it's a little bit more time consuming. But at this point, this is when we really have our mask, and here's our client actually wearing the mask. So if you guys want to see more of these videos in the future, make sure to drop a comment and let me know. And maybe if you guys want to see some of my other masks or my mask collection, just go ahead and let me know in the comments down below.